we see an inblick on how the fire force of the 7th Brigade is formed. And we're fully introduced to Benimaru Shimon in this Fire Force episode 11. But first, the Angry Anime Fan, the Despair Reviewer, here to bring you the summary of this one. And second, let's go in front of the flashback. The first of the flashback is about Hinowa and his time in the military. Because he has mentioned an offhand comment that he used to be working for the military, but even then he was a very cynical man. He had a, well, I would say best friend, although he treated him a little bit cynically. But this best friend knew that deep down Hinowa is kinder than he wants people to believe, but he was also very cynical. Also at that time, Maki had joined the military, as it's revealed that she is indeed the daughter of the chief of the military. But she was also noted to be quite skinny. And the reason why she is so bulky right now is actually because she has overworked her training, according to Hinowa. Regardless, however, even though Hinowa was a little bit cynical to his roommate, he did cherish him. Then suddenly one day his roommate turned into an infernal. But Hinowa, who was a second generation trained even then, did not have the courage to pull the trigger. So the others did it, and he blamed himself deeply for that. Deeply troubled, he walked outside, and then ran into another infernal incident where a brigade of, I think there was the 4th Brigade or something, called in. But these brigaders were psychopaths. It was here we actually saw the captain for the first time, and the captain of the 8th Brigade, because he was just a normal firefighter back then. Well, he is a non-powered one, so I guess it makes sense. And he was the one who was taking out the fire and reported to the brigade about the flames. But then this brigade, they were actually looking forward to taking down another infernal close by, because it was more wild, and it was because of a game. To them, hunting everything was just more than a game. It wasn't about saving lives or even cherished lives. It was all just to have some fun. Why do I have a feeling that bearded bastard of the brigade is someone we're gonna see later? He reminds me of someone. Disregard for life, thinking he is above everything else. Almost sounds like those white hoods. Well, regardless, however, Hinowa approached the captain back then, as the captain was actually willing to... no, not the captain of the 4th Brigade. Sorry, it's just that his name disappeared from my mind now. I was gonna say Captain Burns, but that is not his name. Regardless, however, the upcoming captain of the 8th Brigade wanted to break protocol and end the misery of one of those brigaders. No, not brigaders, infernals. The Obi, that was the one. And there was the 3rd Brigade, not the 4th, the one that came to the scene, sorry. Either way, Obi and Hinowa met at that moment. So while the 3rd Brigade took care of the wild one, they took care of the other one who was not violent at all. Despite some reluctance, it was during that time that Obi mentioned to Hinowa that he wanted to form a brigade of his own, but not for the sake of the joy of it, but because they needed someone to fight for people's right. Yes, they are putting down infernals, but they are doing that because they have no choice. All the 8th Brigade wants to do is do something that no one else have ever done before, uniting the brigades, as well as revealing on why do people turn into these infernals. Think about it, that has not been explained yet. Yeah, these bugs are incidents, but why? Why do they exist? Why is there dollar burst? That is the 8th Brigade's true purpose. And if they find out the truth, maybe, just maybe, there can be a way to actually save people from the terror of the flames. Regardless, however, it was also when 1 year later when they have created that headquarters, it was Hinowa who recommended Maki to get in here because Maki was always someone who shares life. And back into the present, they revealed that they found a mysterious cross that could have been connected to the White Hoods, but that was in the 7th Brigade of Akasawa, or Akusawa. A very I would say feudal Japan-like place, possibly a place that has been living in the past, which may actually explain why Benimaru is so adverse towards the true science things. If you think about it, Japan has never really had a pope or someone like that before. Either way, we're fully introduced to Benimaru, and he seems to be oddly loved by the rest of Akusawa. Akusa. I'm saying oddly because he treats them pretty coldly, calling them names and just telling them to buzz off. But they are surprisingly casual around him, calling him Benny-chan or Benimaru-chan. Either way, the 8th Brigade bursts in without an appointment, as they want to, have the 7th Brigade help. But Benimaru doesn't trust anybody except those he considers to be close to him, and that is practically no one, except of course maybe his Lieutenant Conroe. He of course doesn't trust this one. But then suddenly an infernal happens inside the 7th Brigade, so Benimaru handles it, and we truly see why Benimaru is someone to be feared. It's been rumored go around that Benimaru is supposedly the strongest captain in the entire, I would say, of the entire brigades, and this time confirms it. And this also creates a minor comedic scenes, although for some reason I didn't laugh as much as I wanted to for some reason. Maybe the comedic timing in these situations failed, and that is that he destroys houses just to get to one single infernal. But what's the more comedy of it all, that no one gets upset, except of course the 8th Brigade, because they haven't seen this before. For Akusa, that is Benimaru's way of showing affection, or more like the fact that an old lady justifies it that house can be rebuilt, but lives cannot. Therefore, destroying houses is a trivial thing. So Benimaru puts down this infernal, who actually turned out to have been an old man he met the previous episode. Creates a minor bittersweet moment, as the old lady tells Shinra that they all fear being turned into infernal. So if they ever do turn into infernal, if they die by the hands of the destroyer Akusa named Benimaru Shimon, they will not mind it. So according to her, he is surprisingly more kind than he looks. Well, it doesn't really look like a kind person. And he's even a bad influence on some couple of kids that are staying in his brigade. Although to be fair, I think those kids are psychopathic even without his knowledge. The 2 twins, Hinata and Hikage, that are extremely foul-mouthed. Regardless, however, while Benimaru has an extremely detached personality, it's clear everybody adores him, possibly implying that there's more to Benimaru than he actually wants to admit, or that there's more to Benimaru than he himself realizes. He is powerful. But who is this Conroe? Well, he looks surprisingly sick. But we'll see about that. He seems to be the more calmer of the two. The red and blue, get it? Also, did I say that last time we saw Benimaru? Benimaru's full voice now is revealed, and that is indeed Maru Miyano, the same guy that voiced Death the Kitto in Soul Eater. You know, in a way that is fitting, but I'm only saying that in a way because I do not like all the voices in the Fire Force anime, mostly because it's famous people. I wanted more unknowns. Don't get me wrong, there are some unknowns here, but I wanted more unknowns. But my point is, Death the Kitto was supposed to be the most powerful person in Soul Eater. No spoilers needed. So it actually makes sense for him to voice Benimaru, who is supposedly the most powerful firefighter of them all. It's basically this episode. I mean, it wasn't remarkable, but it wasn't bad either. A quick inblick on the past of the 8th Brigade. And although not impactful, it does show really how cynical the 8th Brigade has seen the world, but they refuses to submit to it. Well, Hinowa probably has, but Obi has not. And also seeing the fact that just because a person is something doesn't mean he can always be hated. And that also shows that not everyone is comfortable with how Neo Tokyo is handling. The music and the animation though looks pretty slick, so give me your thoughts if you have any.